Hello everyone. So today we have this grass cutter and there is a strange fault with this one. Now let me show you what it's doing. So it starts up normally. It sounds nice, no knocking, no nothing, but as soon as I press the throttle, it stops. So let me start it again. As soon as I hit the throttle, it starts. So this is the problem we have. Now this problem may come from either the carb or it may have to do with the valves. We'll go through this problem step by step and let's see if we can get this machine running good again. First, let's start by removing the filter and the carb. To remove the carb, we have to undo the grounding wires and the throttle cable first. Now we have to remove the fuel lines and the carb should be free. Now before cleaning the carb, we will inspect the gasket for any rips as it may allow the air to pass through it. The gasket looks fine, there are no rips in it. So let's proceed to cleaning the carb. First we have to remove the 4 screws. So first comes this purge bowl, then this plastic piece, then this assembly holding the main diaphragm and the main jet, then this thin membrane. Make sure not to lose the spring. And that's basically it to this carb. Also we can remove this throttle body. There are 2 screws holding it into place. To remove this throttle body, first we have to unscrew the idle screw. Then we will have access to the screws. So that's our throttle body. Let's remove the diaphragm from this assembly and inspect it for any rips. The diaphragm looks good. There are no rips in it. Let's also remove the needle. The needle looks good. And so does the seat. Also make sure to not lose this spring. Now I'm using this carb cleaner to clean this carburetor. It's a throttle body and carb cleaner. It works very good. So you can use carb cleaner or any kind of cleaning fluid. You can also use gasoline to clean this carb. Make sure to go through all the jets and all the spaces. So this part is clean. Let's clean the rest of the carb. Let's also remove this fuel screw. Also, while removing the screw, you may want to remember the number of turns, as after we are done with cleaning the carb, you may want to set the screw back to the original position. So let's start assembling back this carb. First, we'll start by screwing back the throttle body. After that, we'll place back the spring. Then this thin membrane. Make sure the spring stays in its place. Then comes the assembly with the main jet. After that, let's screw back the needle. So I have placed the needle in its seat, then goes the spring. Now we will carefully attach this flap to the needle. Like so, and then we'll tighten the screw. Make sure the needle is moving freely, which it is. Then goes the diaphragm, and then this plastic piece, and then finally the purge ball. Before tightening the screws, make sure everything has seated properly. I'm setting the fuel screw to 2 turns out, which is company recommendation for this machine. So the carb is clean and ready to be attached again. So everything is ready to go, everything is hooked up except the ground wire. Now they are missing the connectors, so I will hook them up later. For now, the grass cutter is ready to be tested. So long story short, I started up this machine and it was basically doing the same thing. So off camera what I did was I first removed this handle as I wanted to install a new clutch. Also I removed the screw from here and basically took off this top cover. Then I removed two bolts from this tappet cover. Then I took off the tappet cover and removed the breathing hose. After removing the tappet cover, what I noticed was my intake valve clearance was too large, and what it was doing was it was not allowing the fuel to be pushed in at high RPM, so that was the culprit. So what I did was I set the valve clearance for both valves according to the service manual, which was 0.15 mm for the intake and exhaust as well. So let me show you how I did it. So first I removed both of these nuts. You see they are holding the tappets. So after removing both of these nuts, I used a feeler gauge, as you can see, and I took a 0.15 mm feeler gauge blade and used it to set the valve clearance. If you do not have a feeler gauge, you can set the valve clearance manually. Just make sure that the tappets are not too loose or not too tight. Also, while setting the valve clearance, you have to first make sure that the piston is at top dead center. And to set the piston at top dead center, there are 2 points marked S and N. You have to align them with points on the crankcase. So at this point, the piston should be at top dead center. You can confirm this by removing the spark plug and checking if the piston is really at top dead center. So as I said, to set the valve clearance, first we will loosen up the nuts, then use a feeler gauge blade, then set the valve clearance as desired or as recommended by the company. Then again we have to tighten up the nuts, making sure the valve clearance stays the same. So like that you have to set the valve clearance. It's pretty easy to do. Just undo the two nuts and set the valve clearance. Now if setting the valve clearance still does not fix the issue, the next thing you gotta check is this ignition coil. If the ignition coil goes bad, you may see the same issue of not getting the engine to high RPM. To test the ignition coil, you can use a multimeter in resistance mode. The normal ohm rating should be from 0.6 to 1.2 ohms. Also be sure to inspect the spark plug, as if the spark plug goes bad, you may still see a tiny spark, but the spark plug may stop sparking at high RPM. Also, it's a good practice to swap the spark plugs at first, as they're inexpensive and easy to swap. So if you got the same problem, first thing you gotta start with is changing the spark plugs. In this case, I knew that the spark plug was good, so I didn't change it. So if you got the same problem or any other problem like the engine not starting at all, the first thing you gotta check is the spark plug and the spark, then the carb, then the tappet, and then finally the coil. So if you go step by step, there is a very good chance that you'll be able to troubleshoot the engine and fix it. Just remember, there are only four main things required for an engine to run. The first one being the fuel, the second one the spark, the third one the compression, and the last one is timing. If any one of them is off, the engine won't start. For now, let's keep the handle to the side as I need to buy and install a new clutch, and we'll just test the engine for now. The idle screw was all the way out, so I'm screwing it in a couple of turns. Now let's try to start the engine. So engine is taking the throttle and it's working perfectly fine. Let's start it again. So for this one, adjusting the valves fix the issue. For yours, it might be one of the 3 problems I mentioned. Hope you fix your machine. Thanks everyone and keep watching.